This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Champions League pool here from Newcastle under Lyme. Stephen Jameson and Simon Webb with you, and a fantastic match one of the night, Simon, as we saw a bit of an exhibition from money-making Craig Lakin.
Yeah, didn't make too many mistakes really. The opening frame, a positional error, and frame a little bit later on, missed a couple of pots when he was trying to make a finish. But other than that, he looked pretty good. And considering I thought he might come in and be a bit rusty because he hasn't played a lot in the last year and a half, and not many people have really, but he hasn't been able to have access to a table to practice a huge amount, only a couple of sessions ahead of tonight. He looked pretty good, and if that's the start and he's going to improve on that, then he's going to be a real handful tonight. Yeah,
it should be a great evening in prospect. I mean, now get to look at our next two players as well, in Dave McNamara and Karl Sutton. This is probably a tougher match to call the winner of, just out the gate, and certainly the bookies have it that way as well. But two players who we know a little bit more about. Dave, we've seen on Free Sports in the last 6 months or so, and Karl with some pedigree behind him as well.
Yeah, I think the bookies have Karl as the favourite for not just this match, for the whole night, but only a slight favourite, and I think that's fair. He's currently ranked 3 on the W.E.P.F rankings, behind just Mick Hill and Phil Harrison, so some achievement to be 3. He's been in a World Championship final. He's won multiple titles. He is on paper, his CV is above everyone else here tonight. But with David McNamara, he's one of the most liked players in the pool world. He is a junior world champion and under 23 world champion. He is tracking in the right direction. He's made professional semi-finals. He's made the semi-final of the shootout grand final. He did very well in the shootout series we had straight after lockdown, making the quarterfinals. So he's a player that he's really on the up and up. The one question mark with Dave is he injured himself playing cricket at the back end of last year, September time, and he hasn't fully recovered. He'd broken some bones and tore some tendons in his shoulder, and he's really struggling. And question mark over whether I think in normal play he'll be fine. I've seen him practicing, but question mark over his break tonight. Is he going to be able to break with enough power to really get the chances he needs off his own break?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it, as well? I know you've been in that situation previously where you sort of, it's not a sport where you naturally think of injuries, but when you've got your tin opener on your right hand, it matters during the break,
Oh, absolutely. The first shot I saw him play in practice, he went and you could hear him groaning on it. He was really struggling, and anything he has to hit with any sort of power, he's really is hurting him. So it is going to be a problem for him. And sometimes when that happens, you always say beware the injured sportsman. You do see players play a little bit within themselves at times, and sometimes that can help them. I guess time will tell with Deej.
Yeah, and I've seen he's, as he's mentioned, a very popular player on the circuit, quite big on social media, shares his clips around and stuff like that. He has been practicing, at least he's back to it, which is nice to see. And when he is at his best, Dave McNamara, when he's feeling confident, very dangerous player to watch as well. He's got a lovely flow about him. Yeah,
he's got a lovely step around the table, really confident, and he sort of has that air that a lot of great players have when they kind of almost walk around like they own the table, and he really can control it, and he's got a lot of confidence, and I think that confidence is building not just from the titles he won as a under 23 world champion and the other titles that came along with that, but now that he's really starting to go deep in other events, he really is starting to believe he belongs at the top, and he's tracking in the right direction, and he's going to be a handful.
Yeah, we look forward to watching him tonight. I think we're just about ready to go as well with our second match, which should be an absolute belter. As mentioned, 2 of our 3 favourites here tonight clashing for the first time. And these first matches, son, we saw it last week, we've seen it the week before and the week before that. They can be so important. One moment in one of these early matches can actually end up defining a whole night. We've seen it.
Yeah, how many times have we said, we've seen a missed double or something like that happen in the first match or the second match of the night, and so that could be costly come the end of the night, and it's proven to be that it's such a it's so easy to say, but every single shot matters, every single ball matters. If you can get off to a good start, then you're up and running. If not, you're going to be chasing it the whole night long.
Yeah, but what was the group we saw a couple of weeks ago. Was it John Rowe missing a double in the first match of the night? And if he'd have made that, he'd have won the night, as if the results had stayed the way. That was all it was in an iffy, tight, contested first match. Well, both players didn't play particularly well. So to remind John of that, but then he went on to play brilliantly. And it was one shot that, in the end, defined that entire evening.
You're right, wasn't it? Neil Rayburn, I think they were 2-2 at the time, and there was only a minute or two left on the clock. That double goes in, he wins the frame and wins the match. He missed the double, Neil won the frame, and he's the player that went through, and he went through because of that first match win.
Well, you can see there in the action of Dave McNamara, it's not an action that's a man in a lot of comfort as he's breaking there, but he's managed to break them open pretty well. That natural timing coming to the fore. And he's on yellows and has half a sniff here. It's not the easiest little lie at the top of the table to figure out, but once he gets his pattern, I think these are all there for him.
Yeah, just the one yellow causing a fair bit of trouble, excuse me. But he had a quick look, and it doesn't look like it from our camera, but I'm just wondering whether he can slide it off the jaw or something, because he had a really good look at it. Looking from the overhead, maybe he can. It looks a little bit too tight for me. I think he's going to have to move it, and the fact that he's not playing it from where he's landed tells me that it doesn't go, and because he's not on one of the yellows to the opposite corner. So reroute here. Well, this camera angle clearly shows that ball at the top, doesn't?
Yeah, extension call. It's still there for him, because I think this middle of the three yellows does pass into the top right. So this clearance is still on.
You can see what he wants to do. He's come around and pointed his cue. He wants to try and land in such a way where he can play the yellow furthest left. He wants to play that off the red to open up the pocket. And he's pretty good on it if that's his plan. He's got to be careful if he does play this shot, because the cue ball's got to come quite a long way down the table. He's got to make sure that the red doesn't get in the way of the yellow. Oh, he's played it off his yellow, which slightly more dangerous, because
well, it's come out nice though.
He'll be happy with how it's come out, because the minute you get that ball in motion, you don't know where it's going to end up, but he'll be happy.
Well, first frame, and Dave McNamara is pulling out the party pieces. This is some opening dish from Dave McNamara, who is off and rolling, 1-zip.
Frame.
Great start.
That was a real statement of intent, wasn't it? That wasn't a simple clearance that David McNamara took on. Okay, yes, he got a little bit fortunate with the way that ball came out, but sometimes you sort of earn that fortune, don't you?
This is David's profile. Deej is his nickname, and Simon mentioned the under-23 world champion, as well as the national champion too. He's been an English IPA amateur champion as well. That was back in 2019, which was the last year of what we call the full tour, shall we say. Runcorn originally, big Liverpool fan. Jordan Henderson, his favourite sports person. I think he's overtaken Stephen Gerrard in the last couple of years in Deej's mind, but understandable.
Possibly down to the age of 26, I suspect. But yeah, he's a big Liverpool fan from Runcorn as well. Yeah, he's certainly won a lot of titles, and he's tracking, as I said, in the right direction, as well as winning that English amateur champion on the IPA. He also made a semi-final in that event, or one of the IPA events that year as well, which shows, and with what we've seen him do on the shootout, which is make the grand final, semi-final, and a quarter-final in the Super Series, he really is heading in the right direction.
First look then at Karl Sutton, and he's going to come up dry. Let's have a look at the break again. Didn't hit them as well as he might have done.
Yeah, not a huge amount of movement up into the top half of the table.
Just wonder, difficult to tell there from that angle, but just wonder if he caught a little bit of the top ball.
Yeah, quite possibly. He didn't. I'd have to see that one again, but certainly didn't catch it as well as he wanted to. You can always tell with the way that the pack opens up.
Good opportunity here for Dave McNamara to get himself 2-0 up and have the break in the next frame. These matches can very quickly run away from a player, and there won't be much that Karl in this scenario certainly would have been able to do about it.
Wonder if the 2 yellows on the bottom cushion can be made as a plant. Well, that answers the question. Yes, they could, but they haven't dropped on this occasion. He'll be happy with the leave, though.
Yeah, I think he's might well have played a blind. I think the only pot that Karl can take on might be able to snick it down the rail, or there's one at the top of the table. It's awkward queuing, though. This is tough. Shot.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
For your first pot of the night.
Yeah, coming on, that's all you've done so far is have one break and it didn't go well. Be interesting to see what Karl wants to do here. Does he want to? He could, if he wanted to, drop the red down the left-hand side over onto the yellow and clear that one off and take that pocket. He could try and skill shot it. No, he has just played to clear that yellow.
Yeah, legal shot that. You're allowed to pot your opponent's ball as long as you play your ball first. It's a tactical shot in this instance. Karl wanted that yellow out of the way at the bottom of the table. It's causing him a big problem. Oh, I'll tell you what. These players are not hanging about. It stayed on the table. I don't think the white's exactly where David wanted to have it at all. But he's still there. And now he's looking at a plant into the middle pocket. If he pulls this off, all bets are off, I think. Yep, here we go.
Oh, but he's snookered himself, though.
He can't believe it. Deserved to be on this last yellow. Deserved to be on it. It's a hell of a shot into the middle of the table. And it's a good hit. I'm going to give him that as well. It wasn't the easiest of shots. How about this into the middle pocket?
Yeah, some effort, but he was always chasing it. And okay, Karl's given him half a chance by leaving that first pot he did on, by clearing one over the pocket. He's taken a little bit of a risk that David McNamara was going to come up with something, but it was the percentage play.
Can he hit the potting angle here, I wonder? Well, very nearly did. It's another good hit from Dave, that, because where he's left the yellow is very much in a situation where if Karl snookers him again, a hit could very easily be a pot. Karl is a percentage player in that sense. Does make sense for him to snooker him, but he knows the risk.
He may well have left a gap here, because he was touching ball there, so he didn't have to hit another ball, just had to roll off to a cushion, but he's left a one cushion escape. I think
it's close.
I think David was actually playing that 2 cushions to try and make it, but it was close, and that was a little bit of a chance he wouldn't have expected. I think Karl Sutton is one good safety shot away from being a massive favourite from winning this frame. Got to hit a cushion after contact, remember.
Oh, well, he didn't want that. Cue ball in hand for Dave McNamara to take the frame away.
Ball in hand.
Oh, that's such a sloppy error from Karl.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest, the shot he'd like to have back would be the shot when he was touching ball. He'd like to have that one back because it sort of allowed David to put him in the position he did, and it's going to cost him the frame.
Oh, it's a tough one to take if you're Karl Sutton,
Frame.
isn't it? A Signet. He was big favourite to win that frame as soon as David snooked himself on his final yellow, and that is a steal for Dave McNamara. Make no mistake about that. This is Carlos Sutton from Lowestoft, and you can see there the sort of accolades that he can boast. World Championship runner-up, 4 times UK Tour winner and a European champion to boot. It's not a bad record.
Yeah, and you can see it's that record that is the reason why the bookies have him as the slight favourite for tonight's group, although that may well be changing now that he's 2-0 down in this opening match. It is his first taste of shootout pool, so I'm sure it'd be his first taste of playing anything with 20 seconds. I think he'll be a lot more used to a shot clock of around a minute, and there is a big difference out there, and I do think it takes players time. We saw that with 30 seconds a shot. We saw players, great players, really struggling and taking their time to get used to it. Once they did, they sort of then progressed and started to play what they normally do, and 20 seconds is even more severe. We saw that with Phil Harrison when he played his first shootout. He just struggled with the clock.
David McNamara to break.
And when we saw him again a few weeks ago, he looked more and more comfortable as the night went on.
2-0 up then is David McNamara. This frame now is massive. The difference between 3-0 and 2-1 is huge. And it's another hammer break. We talked about this before the match got going, that we might see Dave struggle on the break a little bit. You can see it's certainly giving him some discomfort in that right shoulder. He's not cueing it as fully as he would. I think that's probably the word to use. It's quite a short contact. He's standing up on it quite quickly.
Yeah, but you see the grimace on his face. He's in pain when he's hitting that shot, and he's probably hitting it more powerfully than he felt he could. Maybe the adrenaline of out there playing in this match is allowing him to do that, but hopefully he's not doing any more damage to himself by doing that.
Yeah, he's almost, rather than cueing through, he's almost punching it down towards the pack, isn't he?
Still trying to generate as much power as possible, but yeah, it's not his full range of motion.
Arguably, he's probably hit the two best breaks of the night. That one wiped its feet, Mines. That wasn't a shot he'd have expected to miss. He was trying to pinch the pocket there, I think, just to slow the white up a touch.
Probably did it a little bit too much, actually. If he hits centre pocket, the cue ball's perfect on his next ball. Now he's probably rerouting. And he's still not quite perfect. Because if he takes this red to the top right-hand corner, it's very hard to avoid the two yellows on the left-hand side. And I think he really wanted to be straight on that red 2 shots ago.
Ooh, is he snookered? He checked the white there, and I think the natural angle would have taken him past the black. He wanted to be on the other side.
I think he was again trying to check it just because those 2 yellows on the left-hand side would have caused him a problem position onto the black if he goes round it. So forced into a double.
Which wasn't really there, and he might well have had another result here, because I'm not sure he's certainly not left anything easy. That's what we can say. Did see Karl play a brilliant shot in actually quite a similar situation to this in the last frame. Right, to pour another one out the fire here. Safety it is.
It is a similar position here for Karl Sutton. He should win this frame. Once a player misses their last ball, as an opponent, you sit there, you know that it's a frame you should win from this situation, and he didn't manage to take it in the last. If he doesn't take it in this frame, of course he's going to be 3-0 down, so he's going to be long odds, but it's going to be very tough for him to find anything coming back into this match if he doesn't win this frame.
Well, it's a good hit from Dave McNamara, but it was a good safety from Karl originally. This is now a great chance for Karl Sutton to get himself a frame on the board, and it was a frame that he really had to win at the start of it as well. Mentioned at the top of it, the difference between 2-1 and 3-0 with 9 minutes left on the watch is absolutely ginormous. Karl Sutton here with a very good chance, if he wins this frame, of taking points out of this match. Players can draw. If it's tied when we reach 0, they'll both get a point each. That really would put the cat amongst pigeons in this group. But 2-1 with still a decent amount of clock left, easily possible that Karl could yet win the match. At 3-0, that would have been very unlikely. It's a big clearance, and he's been meticulous.
He has, I was just going to say, he's been perfect the whole way through. When he needed to, one good safety, then gets the opportunity, and as I say, he's been perfect all the way through. Leaves it a little bit short. Trickier black than he wanted, should still make this.
Yeah, no problem. Played really nicely there, Karl Sutton. It's a good clearance, and he's on the boards. And that was much needed. Carlos.
Yeah, absolutely needs that. Settle him down, give him a chance, keep him in this match.
There is the table, as we mentioned. Craig Lakin sitting handily at the top of it following that rapid win over Tony Blount in our opening match of the night. Craig still got Karl and Dave to play, of course, who are the 3 favourites for this evening's group, and really is still all to play for. But I think the advantage that one of these two has, whoever emerges the winner, is that they know in the back of their minds that they've got one of the players that was their rivals out the way first.
Yeah, the player that wins this match is going to go, on with confidence and be probably regarded as the favourite to go through from this position. The player that loses is going to need some help from the other players in the group. So it's really important for Karl to get back into this match and try and get at least a point out of it, to keep qualification in his own hands.
Time running.
7.5 minutes left, still loads of time for plenty more frames in this match. It's another iffy break from Karl Mines. And once again, we'll see Dave McNamara at the table. And these reds look wide open. It's not a nice contact. You can see there the white jumping up. It's always a sign of a poor contact on the pack. Furrowed brow from Karl there. He wasn't happy, whether that be with himself or with external forces. I'm not too sure, but Dave with a good chance here on reds to go 3-1 up and 1 away.
Problem ball for David is going to be the 8 ball. All the reds are absolutely laid out perfectly. It wasn't a powerful break, but look at the way these reds have come out. It really is wide open, but that 8 ball is going to be very difficult to land on. It's going to probably need a little nudge somewhere, or it's going to be a double of some sort. The problem with a nudge is whenever he tries to do it, and he's just having a look now, there's no guarantees he lands on his next ball. He's hoping to still be on a red to the top right-hand corner after this shot. And he is. Queuing over the yellows. He could take the red into the centre pocket if he wanted to, but the positional side of it is trickier.
I think he'll take that. It's now not easy, but he has got a route. And he'll always back his potting. He's got a lovely angle here just to drift down the table. This is now open for David. That was the toughest pot he'll have to play. Tough queuing. Controlled the pace of it really well. He's got a bit of an angle here to work with to land on this 8 ball and take him 1 frame from home. And 2 points in the group table. There's not much angle, mind. Had to jam it in, and I must say I thought there was more angle on that than there was in the end. The camera plays tricks on you in this position. This is now a tougher 8 ball than he would have liked. It's about a foot shorter of where he'd wanted to be. This for 3-1. Never in doubt, was it?
Frame.
Never in doubt. It's a big frame to win for Dave McNamara. Reverse dish of high quality.
It was all about that 8 ball and developing it, and he did that well. And the shot after he developed the 8 ball was fantastic, because it just gave him the opportunity. Okay, he had to play a better 8 ball than he wanted to in the end, but he'll be really pleased with that finish. It was probably better than the break dish he had to start the match.
Yeah, you can see there, it's a super start from Dave McNamara. He's been at the table, he's had a lot more table time than Karl Sutton, that's for sure. 27 balls potted already to Karl's 9. And as we see there, Karl's not really done a huge amount wrong to find himself 3-1 down.
No, it's because all to do with the break, isn't it? David McNamara, he's had all first opportunities, and he's made 2 of them. So 2 of them he hasn't. And this match is probably going to come down to that 1 frame where, David McNamara went for the finish, didn't make it, and Karl Sutton did not win the frame when he feels, or I think he will feel that he should have done. He'll be sat there thinking it should be 2-2 here and not 3-1, and you can't let players give David McNamara's ability off the hook when they're getting all the opportunities.
Yeah, you can argue about the break being an error and such like, but if you take that out of it, the one mistake in open table that Karl's really made was, as we see Dave break dry here, I think. He's got really good contact there, but it's not come out nice. Not going to ball down. And I'd argue that's probably the best he's queued through one of his breaks as well, in terms of his action, but typically he'll be thinking, it's come out dry. Karl straight out of his chair. But we talked, didn't we, before the start of this match, Simon, about how one moment can really define a player's evening, and what Karl will be desperate to avoid is that in-off being that moment for him.
Yeah, I think, I said at the time, I think the in-off was obviously the big mistake, but I think it will be the previous shot where he had that touching ball where he didn't do enough with it. That's the shot I think he'd love to have back. If he gets that shot right in that situation, he probably is sat here 2-2.
It's a lovely pot into the middle there. He's got a little bit of work to do here because he wants to free up that yellow that's glued to the red. Going to look to do it, I think, of his next shot, or he planned to at least. That has not gone to plan.
It's still doubles past the yellow. It's tricky. Oh, the yellow helps.
Where's the white?
Foul.
Dave McNamara won't get a better chance to win a match
Time.
against Karl Sutton. It's a great shot from Karl, but didn't he thread the needle there to pot the cue ball? He's unlucky in that sense. But I don't think it's exactly where he wanted the white for that double.
No, I don't think he got hold of the white at all in the whole visit. I think he was always chasing his position. It's not all over for him in terms of hopes of getting back to the table. But if David McNamara plays this correctly, he shouldn't be thinking about the finish. He should be thinking about taking out as much time out of this match as possible.
Yeah, play pots. Because at this stage, say if you can make these 3 balls that are an open table, that'll take a minute off the clock if he uses his full 20 seconds. And at that point, Karl is not going to have enough time, in theory, to clear up twice.
He hasn't finished on the red nearest the right centre, so now he's left with a double. No problems, that's a great double. Could be a match-winning double, or a double that will seal the match.
Yeah, I think this match should run its course in terms of the clock, and that would give David McNamara the win. He doesn't want to take any risks. Doesn't want to let Karl in, and he's played really well there. Just take another 40 seconds off the clock with that pot, and this one coming. And he has got the angle to develop these, I think, if he can force it. Oh, it's a hell of a shot. Tell you what, it's a fantastic shot. He might as well go and clear these up now.
Yeah, now the work is done. Excellent shot to open things up. He probably would have wanted to play that first or second shot, but either because he was playing the clock or because he didn't quite land where he needed to, he's decided to leave it till last, and you can't argue against that. And now that he has played it and it's come out so well, all the time in the world to make these last 2 pots.
You can see there, a little glance at the clock. He's a match player, Dave McNamara, who really does pride himself on taking everything as seriously and as competitively as possible. And it's been a professional job from him. Superb performance. And the favourite to win the group suffers an early blow. Karl Sutton will have to do it the hard way tonight if he is to advance as the group winner. A fantastic start from David McNamara, who came and saw and conquered in his opening match. A fantastic start from Deej. 4 really, really impressive clearances to win a really tough match, arguably his toughest match on paper of the night.
Yeah, I'd be very pleased with that. To get off to such a good start, really good break condition. The opening frame settled him down okay. He missed a couple of opportunities, and Karl didn't make the most of punishing, well, at least one of them, but he kept going and he kept taking those chances, and yeah, very deserved winner. And David McNamara will be very happy with the way he played in that match.
Yeah, and quite rightly so too. We've still got plenty more to come, still 4 matches in total to come tonight, so don't go anywhere. Stay with us. We're back after the break.
This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.